Gary Mark along with Ron Messer. And Mess, those were some pretty neat picks right at the start there.
Yeah, they're courtesy of our friend Gary Gardell down in St. Catharines. I know you watch in every week, Gary. And same as the Whomper, he's got some great historical stuff courtesy of the St. Catharines A's site that he runs. So check that out, and we'll be bringing you a lot more vintage pictures of lacrosse from days gone by.
Picks in another fashion here, and you, O Swami, 5-0 after week 1.
I know. I'm going with my heart. I know I read down all the stats and everything that people throw out in this stat crazy world that we live in, and I look more towards the human element of things, and i.e. crowds, home openers, stuff like that. That's how I make my picks.
Wah, wah, wah. He flipped the coin and he picked his rock. Yeah. You know, I mean, and I guess, you know, we were talking before we went on air here. A lot of the people this week didn't do so well with their picks, and, you know, guys here and there. I went 4-1 other than the rock pick, and you went 5-0, and without sounding smart, these picks this past week didn't seem hard to me.
No.
I kind of thought all of the home teams are solid teams. Not that the road teams weren't, but you know what? First week of the season, home teams, blah, blah, blah. I didn't think it was that hard of a week. So going 4-1, I kind of expected that. I actually expected to go 5-0. And, I mean, you went 5-0. Did you look at it as being a tough week?
No, I didn't. But, you know, the NLL Insider here, we've got some paperwork here. They missed every one of them but one. And what I see is they were using historical, statistical data to make up their picks. And like I said earlier, I don't do that way. I guess kind of, maybe it's because I'm a little...
gut.
But go with my gut,
yeah.
You know.
And at the same time, I mean, I don't want to sound like I'm bragging going 4-1 because I know any week I can go 0-5 very simply. You know, and that probably will happen. It could happen this week. I don't know, but it just didn't seem like a real tough week. And you know, I'm not going to go through. We're not going to recap every game, but the one game I want to talk about is the Toronto-Boston game. And I guess the question I have is, I was amazed at the way Toronto came out. I knew Cordingley and Sanderson were going to have an effect on that team quickly. I was amazed at how well they played. I was amazed at how poor Boston looked. Do you think it's a situation where Toronto is a lot better than a lot of people think, or is Boston a lot worse than a lot of people think? Or is that just one of those games that happens?
Well, according to the people in the know that I know, they told me that Boston wasn't very well prepared, i.e. Practice time and stuff like that. And frankly, I thought they maybe brought a bad attitude to the game, thinking at the Rock, well, so what, they got Colin Doyle back and they got a new coach. Again. You know, it's just Toronto again, and Watson's not that good a goalie. Well, look at the type of defense that they played. Every time anybody in Boston was near a ball in the Rock end, there was two men on them. They switched up all the time. They played that diamond or the box, whatever they call it, really, really well. And throw into that, I think Anthony Cosmo's probably had one of the worst games of his career.
Yeah, that was totally not typical of Cosmo. No. And I will give you credit there as well. You called that. I mean, when we made our picks last week, the new defense that Cordingley and Sanderson instituted for Toronto, I called it in the write-up that I did the in-your-face type defense. You don't have a lot of time to think about anything, let alone getting a shot on net. And again, props to Bob Watson. He was not, you know, he didn't have 100 shots. They didn't have clear lanes to cut to the net all night, all through the game. When he was called upon, he came up big.
He did. He played really, really well. And what I was worried about, and we both were, was about a lot of these outside shots. Well, they took that away, and Dan Dawson was the only guy. He just used his tremendous size and skill to get around the Rock defense. But one thing that we got, because we got to move on, we're going to keep it short this week, is that you read a lot down all these NLL rumor insiders and everything about this NLL game being a hybrid field lacrosse, box lacrosse style of game. You watch the Rock, Gary, they move the ball inside, cutting across the middle like an OLA or a WLA box team did last week. Quick passes, bang, 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 bang. Before they knew it, everybody's turning their heads and the ball's in their net.
Yeah.
So, you know, maybe Sanderson and Cordingley know something that the rest of us don't, but you know, you can't take away from the summer style of game those guys run. The success is evident in the Man Cup rings that they're wearing.
And I'll just leave it at, I mean, it was I was shocked. I mean, it was a totally different attitude. It was a totally different style of play, and they look like they're having fun.
Yeah.
And boy, oh boy, I mean, just every time I turn around, I'm like, wow, like this, you know. And one thing I want to touch on as well, you know, a couple things. Sorry, Garrett Billings.
Yep.
Boy, oh boy, this kid can shoot the ball.
Five goals, 2 points, and 2 assists for 7 points.
Yeah.
And the other big rookie surprise on the Rock is Stefan LeBlanc,
Yeah.
with also with 7 points on the night as well, 5 and 2. You know,
and I'm not sure. Sorry, I'm not sure to cut you off. If it was Billings or if it was LeBlanc. LeBlanc plays with Doyle on that left side. Billings, I know from watching the game, got at least 3 passes from Doyle off the crease, cross corner to the shooting position. I mean, that's the sort of thing, Colin Doyle, 9 assists in the game. That's the sort of thing that he's going to attract defenders all year. If these other guys can continue to put the ball in the net, Doyle's going to get a gazillion assists, and these guys they're going to light up the lamp.
double team and flip the ball off, and all of a sudden you got an odd man situation in your advantage.